Welcome back to Velshi and Rule. The first Democratic lawmaker is calling on Congressman John Conyers to resign after allegations of sexual harassment. Congresswoman Kathleen Rice says the longest-serving member of the House should step aside.
Because enough is enough. At this point, what I am voicing publicly is what every single private citizen is saying across America. Why are the rules for politicians in Washington different than they are for everyone else? Right now, what we're talking about is there going to be any level of accountability? And, saying that we're going to have these allegations against politicians go before an ethics committee that can sometimes take a couple of years, no offense to my colleagues who are on the ethics committee, but that's not real. That's not real. And that's not accountability.
Why are the rules for Washington different from everyone else? Important to note that Congresswoman is a Democrat. Conyers' attorney says the Michigan Democrat will not resign. So you know what I want to do? I want to look at the process involved in making a sexual harassment claim against a member of Congress and why we are hearing so little about them. I can assure you this is the exact kind of thing that makes people so angry about D.C. So what happens when you want to file a report? You must make a written request within 180 days. To fill out that request, you've got to call the Office of Compliance to get an online password. You are then forced to have counseling. You, the one who is harassed, forced to get counseling where the agency goes over your rights in the workplace, and that could take up to 30 days. The next step, mediation. At that point, the accused is given a lawyer from the House. You, the victim, are not. So the victim, who's probably someone junior, doesn't necessarily make a lot of money, has to pay for their own lawyer. Both parties meet and can agree to make a settlement. During this process, both parties sign an agreement that says whatever is said or signed during this period is confidential. Confidential. Remember, these are lawmakers, people serving the public, voted into office by the public. It expires after the 30-day period. But if you do settle, chances are you'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. But let's say you want to continue after mediation. You're required to take a cooling off period of 30 days before you can even go on. And in that period, you could still be working in the same office, and these are small offices in many cases, as the person you're accusing. After the 30 days are finished, you got two options. Either have an administrative hearing to force a resolution or file in federal district court. And we want to note, interns are not offered these same protections. So let's say a settlement is made. The person accused pays for all the legal costs, right? Wrong. The payment is paid by the Treasury Department, meaning it is coming out of your taxpayer dollars. Mine too. The special fund used to make these payments do not just cover sexual harassment. They also cover things like racial discrimination and Americans with Disabilities Act violations, paying out more than $15 million in the last 20 years. Don't you think this type of information, these type of settlements are the kind of things the American people should know about? Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, who established the New Jersey Department of Transportation Office of Civil Rights. Congresswoman, when you see that confusing flow chart, for me it's mind-boggling. What can be done to change that?
Well, I'm sure that they can eliminate some of the steps or the amount of days that are in between the steps. But I should tell you, I worked for the Division on Civil Rights. So from the moment you filed a complaint, from the moment the incident happened, you had 180 days to file the complaint in order to maintain jurisdiction. So for me, that's understandable. That's been in the law, and that actually protects the person who feels that they've been discriminated against because they've got that 6-month period in which to file the complaint. And then after the complaint is filed, generally speaking, the person is notified that there's a complaint against that person. So I see that there may be some issues within the system that are a little convoluted, but I think that we have to also recognize that these are allegations, and that allegations need to be proven, and then steps need to be taken in order to ensure that due process and fairness takes place. What we have now in the system is that we don't have the encouragement for those individuals who believe that they have been sexually harassed to come forward and feel comfortable in making that complaint. The system doesn't protect them the way it should. So there should be transparency, of course. There should be encouragement to file a complaint if you feel you've been discriminated against, harassed, or whatever. But you also need to understand that until these allegations are proven, they are simply allegations.
So do you disagree in the case of Representative Conyers, where Congresswoman Rice believes he should resign? Do you believe it's too soon to ask for that?
I think that, yes, I do. I think it's too soon. I think that, as I said before, when I worked with the Division on Civil Rights, enforcing the law against discrimination, I was advised as a very young professional, anyone has the right to file a complaint. That doesn't mean that that complaint is always valid or that that complaint will always be substantiated under the law. And that's why you go through an investigatory process to get the facts surrounding it, to talk to witnesses and whatever, so that you can get as much information as possible to make the determination if, in fact, it happened the way it is being alleged. If it is, then let the chips fall where they may. But if during this process, this person, it should be presumed innocent until found guilty. And that's the beauty of our American system, and I don't think that that should change now. I do, however, think that we should expedite this process as much as possible, particularly now since we see the floodgates opening up. With complaints, even with some of my colleagues, who said that they're coming forward because they were experiences and that they wanted to protect others. And to them, I say, you're very courageous to bring this up, but you got a responsibility to name those individuals who are still supposedly in Congress who did this to you, because you did it in order to protect those who've come behind you so they don't have to go through this kind of harassment.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your thoughts today.
Thank you for
Congresswoman Bonnie
having me.
Watson Coleman.